Hello, a very good evening to all of you. So, in today's session, this is the first session with respect to live streaming. We'll be talking with respect to the, like earlier I had shared on the group, I will be discussing with respect to the types of questions that we might be having. In today's session, I had gone through the various questions that I had received, and what I have done is that then I have just segregated those questions and I have just segregated into different themes that have been asked. So what we'll be doing is initially I'll be talking little about the particular themes that you have asked, and then later on I'll also ask you to ask me specific questions if that I am not able to cover. So this will be how we'll be proceeding with respect to our session today. So for today's session, the topic was like type 1 type of questions from the 5 type of questions that I said. Like what should you do when you are starting the preparation? I'll be basically dealing with those questions, like even those who are starting it, or those who had started it but somehow they want to reorient themselves. So this will be from that perspective. I'll prefer that when we'll be taking the questions from your end, questions related to the type 2, type 3, type 4, type 5, we deal later on, right? We'll be definitely dealing them. That way we'll be able to segregate them, and later on also we can also refer to these recordings so that it can help specifically that this particular topic was asked in that particular recording. So this is how I'll be proceeding with these. So starting with that, now first if I talk about, first question is regarding how to approach the preparation, like how to start it. Now for that, I'll highlight two important factors. Like one is you have to generate, like when you talk about preparation for UPSC, you have to function on two levels. One is that you have to develop certain default knowledge, डेवलप सर्टेन डिफॉल्ट नॉलेज, जिसके लिए आपको पढ़ना पड़ता है. डिफॉल्ट नॉलेज मीन्स ऐसी नॉलेज which everyone should appreciate that you should be knowing vis-a-vis being a person of this particular age, and you should be joining particular service. So for this becomes important your NCRTs and other additional books. That is the first part, developing the default knowledge. And second is that you should be aware about current events, current issues evolving around the country. So from that comes the syllabus with respect to current affairs or current updations. So broadly speaking, your approach should be to, you should be developing knowledge on two fronts. That is developing the knowledge with respect to your default knowledge, and second is being aware, generating awareness about the current affairs. तो इससे आपके, अगर आप स्टार्टिंग की बात करें, you should start first on with NCRTs. जो basic NCRTs आपकी होती है class 6 to 12th. You need not read all of the NCRTs. You have to be selective about them. आपको selectively पढ़ना है. आप बात करते हैं अगर which NCRTs to be referred, you can easily refer on any of the toppers blog. आपको वहां पे पता चल जाएगा, right? And second is with respect to current affairs. Now current affairs ka starting should be with respect to any newspaper. You can pick up a basic newspaper like Times of India also, Indian Express also, and Hindu also, right? आप किसी से भी start करिए, but major thing is that you should start with it. First you should initiate it. And I would also like to mention that towards the end of the session, we'll take certain doubts also if I'm not able to cover them, right? My agenda is I'll be discussing few things which will be very, like many of you will be having some queries around it. If they are able to be clarified during the discussion itself, well and good. Otherwise, we'll take up later on also, right? तो अगर आप इसकी बात करते हैं तो आपको अप्रोच कैसे करना है, यू हैव टू नो दैट आपको दो तरीके की नॉलेज गैदर करनी है. वन इज डिफॉल्ट नॉलेज एंड सेकंड इज योर अपडेशन रिगार्डिंग करंट अफेयर्स. तो उसके रिगार्डिंग आप इनिशियली स्टार्ट करिए एनसीईआरटी से, because NCERTs is a good source in this regard to know about the basics, that what you have to read. And second आपको पढ़ना है फिर करंट अफेयर्स, राइट? तो अब मैं अगर बात करता हूँ जो नेक्स्ट मेजर थीम आती है यहाँ पर, then students generally talk about material, right? See nowadays even book list, even I have been sharing, and before also, like you can refer to any of the blogs by any topper or even by a coaching institute, you will get to know about the book list. And if you are talking about with respect to accessing those material, you can easily find out on internet. There are certain websites like UPSC PDF, IAS material, which provide them free of cost, and otherwise also NCRTs you can download directly from NCRT's website. So as such, accessing the resources is not a challenge nowadays, and even knowing about what you have to study, that is also not a challenge. You can refer to any of the blogs in this regard. Now coming to the next aspect, like what is should be the basic approach regarding current affairs. Like initially अगर आप start करते हैं, I will suggest that do develop a habit of reading newspapers. You might refer to the compilations on current affair later on, but initially आप न्यूज़पेपर जरूर पढ़िए। और न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ते समय एक चीज जरूर आप साथ में करिए कि आप यूपीएससी का सिलेबस अपने साथ में रखिए। सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज दैट जब आप सिलेबस को रेफर करते हुए आप पढ़ते हैं, यू काइंड ऑफ are able to develop the linkage between a topic and what is mentioned in the UPSC syllabus, which will be very helpful in the long run in terms of analyzing the various topics that are given to you. तो आप करंट अफेयर जब आप करते हैं न्यूज़पेपर के साथ अपना सिलेबस लेके जरूर रखिए। एनसीईआरटीज देखिए, एनसीईआरटीज का क्या है, एनसीईआरटीज दे हैव बीन रिटन इन अ वेरी लूसिड एंड कंसाइज लैंग्वेज एंड दे आर मोर फ्रॉम द एस्पेक्ट ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग। तो जब आप एनसीईआरटी पढ़ते हैं तो पहली रीडिंग में आप उसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग डेवलप करिए, लाइक व्हाट आर द वेरियस थीम्स द ऑथर इज टॉकिंग अबाउट। वन वेरी गुड हैबिट ऑफ रीडिंग एनसीईआरटीज इज दैट आप इनिशियली चैप्टर रेफर करिए, उसका इंडेक्स देखिए, फिर उसकी जो मेजर सब हेडिंग्स है आप उसको ग्लांस करिए, देन गो टू दी एक्सरसाइज। वहां पे आप क्वेश्चंस देखिए, लाइक व्हाट क्वेश्चंस द एग्जामिनर और द पर्सन हु हैज क्यूरेटेड दिस मटेरियल हैज फ्रेम्ड, देन स्टार्ट रीडिंग द एनसीईआरटी। सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज दैट बिकॉज एनसीईआरटीज आर फ्रेम्ड फ्रॉम अ पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ कॉम्प्रिहेंशन फॉर अ चाइल्ड, तो आपको उससे ये पता चलता है कि आपको उस पर फोकस किस पे करना है, राइट। तो वहां से आपको इस चीज में हेल्प करेगी जब आप एनसीईआरटीज पढ़ना स्टार्ट करते हैं। दूसरी बात, अगर आप नोट मेकिंग के लिए फोकस करना चाहते हैं while reading NCERTs, my suggestion will be that don't go into the note making stage in the first reading, especially for NCERTs. First reading for NCERTs would be more like a leisure activity, like you're just reading a novel. Just try to understand what concepts have been talked. Just try to understand what debates are going around. Then in the second reading, try to jot down the important points, and I will suggest that that should be done because that will definitely be helpful because it will be very difficult for you to revise the NCERTs again. क्योंकि एनसीईआरटीज एज सच अगर आप बात करें अंडरस्टैंडिंग एस्पेक्ट से तो इम्पोर्टेंट है, लेकिन अगर आप क्वेश्चन अगर आप देखेंगे पेपर के अंदर, उनके अंदर इतना कंटेंट नहीं है कि आप वहां से एक पूरा आंसर लिख पाए या फिर उससे यूपीएससी प्रीलिम्स में कोई क्वेश्चन बनाए। सो दैट बिकम्स इंपॉर्टेंट कि आप उसको अंडरस्टैंडिंग एस्पेक्ट से देखिए। लेटर ऑन लाइक थिंग्स आपको जो एडवांस बुक्स हैं यू कैन रीड लेटर ऑन, बट आई एम टॉकिंग फ्रॉम अ पर्सन हु इज स्टार्टिंग। तो two things becomes important: start reading one newspaper, and other is start reading your NCERTs. Or NCERTs maybe you can yourself think about which NCERTs you should study first. Like people generally start with studying histories NCERT, geographies NCERT, then polities NCERTs. Depending on your background and depending on what you are able to understand better, आप कोई भी एक NCERT उससे पिक करके आप कर सकते हैं। Now this other important aspect that I had received was regarding whether you should join a coaching or you should do it at home. एक क्वेश्चन ये भी बहुत pertinently आ रहा था from the aspect of an aspirant who is starting his preparation. See, if you talk in today's scenario and even earlier also, coaching might help you in that regard because that is done in an institutional manner, but it is not a necessity. You might be knowing many people who do it without coaching. And if you talk about the second part, whether it is necessary to come to Delhi or not, in that scenario also you know yourself that there are many examples in front of you that where you had seen that people were not living in Delhi and still they were able to qualify it. So there is no absolute necessity on both the fronts, but still if you feel that if you can afford it, or if you feel that they can provide proper guidance, if you feel that you are not having proper discipline, then you can definitely join a institute, because whenever things are done in an institutional manner they are more structured and there is someone who is responsible for what you have to do yourself, right? तो अगर आप afford कर सकते हैं, if you can manage it, then definitely go for it. There is no harm in that, right? Secondly, even like for those who are seeking to come to Delhi, first is if you can stay at home, if you can prepare in your peer group, there is no need. But otherwise also if you feel that you have to come, just come here and live for some time. You'll realize yourself whether you need this environment or not, right? So you need not worry about this particular aspect. Now the next important aspect, this time I had received many questions, was on choosing an optional. Now in choosing an optional, people are many times confused between that what kind of optional is suitable to that. Now what I will suggest here is that you should explore the kind of options that you are having, and you should also see your own interest in this regard. Like you should be exploring, like if you're coming from a background, like suppose I was coming from an engineering background, so first I thought about an engineering optional, and I had realized that I would be able to do well in that, so I stuck to it. Then later on I myself had some thoughts of doing away or changing my optional depending on my other interests. तो आप जब भी आप ऑप्शनल की आप बात करते हैं तो सबसे पहले आप ये देखिए कि उसमें आपका इंटरेस्ट कितना, आपकी उसके में अवेयरनेस कितनी है। तो आप तीसरी चीज ये कर सकते हैं कि उसके अंदर देन यू स्टार्ट रेफरिंग द प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन, just analyze the kind of questions they are asking, whether you can answer them, some of them. Just gaze through the syllabus, you will have some kind of idea that what could be the possible syllabus, or what could be the possible themes on which this particular syllabus might be talking about. इसके अलावा you can easily refer nowadays, you will find strategy videos on all the optional, तो आप उससे एक तरीके से 10-15 दिन का टाइम लेकर आप उसको जीरो इन करिए. And I like to highlight here is that it is very important that you are very particular about choosing the right optional, and that optional has to be as per UPSC's demand. आप उसमें sentimental होकर या emotional होकर अवॉइड करिएगा अपना ऑप्शनल चूज करना, बिकॉज एट द एंड ऑफ द डे दैट ऑप्शनल, the objective or the utility of that optional is to make you qualify the exam. If somehow, like many times it happens, you might be having an interest in a particular topic, but if you are not able to score, then it will not be useful from the aspect of UPSC. तो आप उस चीज पर भी जरूर ध्यान दीजिए. And the other set of question that I was getting was like people were asking how to manage preparation with college, and the other question was how to manage preparation with job, right? So for that, my simple strategy is first start with the material that you have to refer. Like suppose if you are in college, like if you are in your third year or your fourth year, तो आप धीरे धीरे आप अपना सिलेबस रेफर करिए, आप बेसिक रीडिंग स्टार्ट करिए, आप चीजों को थोड़ा सा पढ़ना स्टार्ट करिए, डेवलप अ हैबिट, डेवलप अ रूटीन इनिशियली, फिर उसको ग्रेजुअली, जैसे सपोज इफ यू स्टार्टेड विद 2 hours ऑफ स्टडिंग ऑन अ पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक, आप धीरे धीरे ग्रेजुअली उसको बढ़ाइए, देन टेक इट टू 2.5, 3, 4, 5, and with this you will be able to know that whether you are having interest in it or not, right? See, even I will appreciate ki when you are doing two things, it's very difficult ki focus on both the things. Like suppose you will be responsible even for preparing for your college as well as for the competitive examination. Same is the thing with those who are in their job. तो आपको दोनों चीजें वहां पर बैलेंस करना, it becomes very difficult because I myself have faced that particular thing. तो अब यहाँ पर उन चीजों को ग्रेजुअली स्टार्ट करिए, इंक्रीमेंटली इंक्रीज करिए, and after some time, like suppose if you are in college, then after some time you will realize that yes, you are on the right track. Then there will come a time that your graduation will be over, and then after that you will be getting sufficiently more time. So you should think from this perspective also कि अगर आप उसको अच्छे से करते हैं तो later on आपको और टाइम उस पे मिलेगा, right? So these are, and even same goes with people who are in job. Like to be very honest about it, at times it's very difficult, becomes very difficult for them to leave a job, leave a secured vocation, whatever they are doing, and start into with this uncertainty. But at the same time, you would have seen people who are doing excellently well in this also. So you can again initially start with it and try to manage your workload simultaneously, right? So these are few of the topics that I wanted to discuss initially. So I'll just tell you that whatever I've discussed, first is how to start with NCRTs and newspaper. Then I had discussed on the major theme of essentiality of coaching, or you should study from home, right? Then I had discussed regarding whether it is essential to come to Delhi or not. Then I discussed about from where you can access your material for this. Then I had also discussed about how to go about an optional in this regard. Then how to manage your preparation with college and job. Apart from this, note making, right? People were having the questions regarding note making also, right? When I talk about note making in this regard, see, initially your first reading should focus in terms of understanding the concept, understanding the various themes on a particular topic. Then in the second reading, you should be oriented towards note making. Now, in note making, I will focus on two essential things. Whenever you are going for note making, first is identify the idea which has been discussed on the given text. देखो हमेशा when you talk about note making, it is more like a pre writing practice. तो आपको note making में क्या करना है, you are doing it from the aspect of consolidation. तो आपको consolidate क्या करना है, it becomes very important. देखो consolidate from UPSC's perspective is you have to consolidate the idea which has been discussed in the given text, and secondly you have to also consolidate the kind of arguments that are favoring or that are in favor or against that particular idea. तो इन दो चीजों को आपको उसके अंदर कंसोलिडेट करना है, एंड एट द एंड ऑफ द डे आपको क्या करना है कि दो आपको टेक्स्ट गिवन था उसको छोटा करते हुए जाना है, so that it will help you in terms of reducing the amount of text you have to read the next time. So that is the basic principle of note making, right? Now इसके अलावा specifically people were asking me with respect to what should be their strategy for 2022 and 2023. See, if you talk about 2022, you are having, I think, approximately now 6 to 7 months from now for your prelims. So my suggestion will be for, I'm not sure ki whether you have given the exam earlier or not. So it will vary depending on that, whether you have already given it or you are preparing it for first time. So you'll have to see from that aspect. But irrespective of that, initially you will have to focus on your mains also, because the time period that you are having in between prelims and mains, आपको तकरीबन 80 से 90 दिन का ही टाइम मिल रहा है वहां पर. तो उसके लिए आपको पहले से उस लिहाज से पहले से आपको मेंस की थोड़ी सी तैयारी करके आपको रखनी पड़ेगी. तो in coming 2 to 3 months you have to focus on your optional as well simultaneously, and from March onwards you have to full heartedly focus on your prelims also, right? And if you talk about 2023, you have a sufficient time period, like it's around almost 1.5 years. So you can go about it in a more structured manner, in a more planned way, by reading more text on it. You can read additional books also on that, right? So for that, you'll have to strategize yourself. And I believe that these plans have to be personal. Now, if these plans are to be personal, then you have to see कि आपके लिए क्या suitable होता है, right? So this was what I had to discuss from my end. Now I'll be taking questions one by one from your end, so that because I know there will be some specific queries also in this regard. So I'll start with that in this regard. See, I'll be focusing in today's session. We are focusing more from the aspect of someone who is starting the preparation. With respect to prelims, we will see later on. With respect to mains, we will plan it like as I had shared in the group with respect to type of questions. Today it will be better like if you ask me questions related to this. I'll be answering other questions also, but if you believe that if you go about this segregated approach, it's always helpful for everyone. Now Mandeep wants to speak something. Like, yes, Mandeep, you can go ahead.
हेलो सर.
Yes, Mandeep.
सर जैसे मैंने 23 में देना एग्जाम दे रहा हूँ, तो मुझे बताओ कि पहले मुझे ऑप्शनल करना चाहिए या जीएस के लिए.
हाँ जी, क्या
जियो
हाँ
जियोग्राफी
जी,
ऑप्शनल है सर. पहले
आपको
मुझे ऑप्शनल करना चाहिए या जीएस 2023 में देने जा रहा हूँ मैं सर.
हाँ जी.
तो मुझे सर जैसे काफी टाइम है मेरे पास, 1.5 साल है, तो उसके लिए पहले मुझे ऑप्शनल तैयार करना चाहिए या जीएस.
आप शुरुआत जीएस से करिए. कुछ टाइम के बाद आप जीएस पढ़ने से फायदा क्या होगा कि आपको ये रियलाइजेशन होगा कि आपको कौन सा ऑप्शन लेना चाहिए. तो आपको जीएस से शुरुआत करने का ये फायदा रहेगा, और हमेशा जीएस से शुरुआत करना ही बेटर रहेगा, क्योंकि हो सकता है कि कुछ टाइम के बाद आप रियलाइज करें कि आपके लिए कौन सा ऑप्शन बेहतर है. तो मेरा सजेशन होगा कि आप अपने जीएस से ही स्टार्ट करें इसमें. यस हार्दिक, यू कैन गो अहेड.
हेलो.
यस हार्दिक.
गुड इवनिंग सर. सर मैंने अपना जीएस 1 एंड 2 कंप्लीट किया है अभी, और मेरे को 22 में अपियर करना है सर. तो मैं अपनी आंसर राइटिंग की स्टार्टिंग कैसे करूँगा, आप थोड़ा बता देंगे प्लीज.
देखिए, आंसर राइटिंग के दो तरीके हैं ब्रॉडली. एक तो आप डेली आंसर राइटिंग कर सकते हैं, या फिर आप कोई टेस्ट सीरीज लगा सकते हैं. दोनों में से कोई भी तरीका आप यूज कर सकते हैं. मैंने किया था इनिशियली आई फोकस्ड ऑन डेली आंसर राइटिंग. उसका फायदा ये था कि आप अगर रोज 5 से 6 सवाल अगर आप लिखते हैं, तो आपको ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम पता चलता है कि आपको क्या क्या इंप्रूवमेंट करना है, और वो ग्रेजुअल इंप्रूवमेंट होता है। यहाँ पर ये इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है कि आप एक रेगुलर फीडबैक लेते रहें उस पर, जो भी अप्रोच आप यूज करते हैं। सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज होती है कि आप आंसर लिखना स्टार्ट करिए। सी, एनीवन हु स्टार्ट्स विद एनीथिंग, इन द first 2 to 3 answer you will not write like as per what is the demand. But if you develop this habit of learning quickly, soon you will come to realize that you are able to write as per demand of UPSC. तो आप दोनों में से कोई भी स्ट्रेटेजी रख सकते हैं। और जहां तक अगर आप कह रहे हैं कि आप अगला अटेम्प्ट देना चाहते हैं, मैं आपको सजेस्ट करूंगा कि आप जैसे TLP का अभी प्रोग्राम चल रहा होगा, 60 डे प्रोग्राम, आप उसको रेफर कर सकते हैं। और अपने दिमाग में रखिए कि आप इस बार वाला मेन सी दे ही रहे हैं, 40 से 45 दिन का समय है, तो आप उसमें इस तरीके से आप जा सकते हैं।
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
थैंक यू हार्दिक। Devanita, you can go ahead and ask your query. Okay, I'm not sure whether. Okay. Yes, Devpriya Das, you can ask your query. Yes, RD Sharma sir, you can ask your query. Soumya, you can ask your query. You can type in your queries also, like because I can see only few of them. आप टाइप भी कर सकते हैं. See, about geology optional, right now I don't know anyone, because if as and when I will come to know, I'll definitely convey to you. Right now I'm not knowing anyone right now. GS4 स्ट्रेटेजी हम बाद में करेंगे। सी, मैंने बोला था मेंस के रिगार्डिंग क्वेश्चंस आई विल टेक लेटर ऑन। टुडे आई एम जस्ट टेकिंग फ्रॉम दिस एस्पेक्ट हाउ यू हैव टू स्टार्ट फ्रॉम दिस. Yes, Vivek, you can ask if you are having any query. I hope I am audible. Am I audible?
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, Vivek. Yes, Vivek.
Sir, I want to know that how to prepare for ecology and science and tech part. Is there any specific source for preparing them, especially for the prelims point of view?
You talked about science and tech, and other was
Ecology and environment.
okay, environment and ecology and science and tech, right? See, for
Uh,
that you should refer certain books in this regard. I will be sharing the book list in that regard. One book which is very good for science and tech is your TMH की जो book आती है, Ravi Agrahari, if I can recall correctly. And for ecology, you can refer Shankar IAS, and recently there is one more book by Vaishali Anand in this regard. And thirdly, there is one more source, PMFIS. You can refer any one of them. You can start with any one of them among these three. They are all good, and at the same time, they all three are not exhaustive. So you need not worry. You can start with any three of them for ecology. And for science and tech, I think TMH book is a one-stop solution in that regard, in terms of knowing about the basics also.
okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Vivek. Anyone else I have turned on few of you. Sahil Raj. By that time, I will see some of the queries from.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Yes, Sahil.
Very good evening, sir. Thank you for
Hello.
this initiative to help us. Sir, actually, I already gave one prelims, right? So basically, I want to ask that ki I am unable to clear out with few marks only, right? So basically, I have a doubt in current affairs. So and I am a working professional. So is it fine if I go with the monthly compilation, or I have to go with newspaper like the Hindu?
See, if you have already given an attempt, you know yourself that how much weightage current affair has in this regard. And
Hmm.
you should also see ki current affairs, you have to understand the issue. Then you have to relate it with the static part. That is the major thing that you are having, right? But
Hmm.
like there are three things. I will be speaking broadly. Like if you talk about current affairs, Sahil, if
Hmm.
you can mute, it will be helpful. Then you can speak up again because there is disturbance from your part. Then
Okay.
what I was saying, ki
Hmm.
I was saying that Sahil ki for current affairs broadly there are three approaches. Like one, you can refer the daily newspaper and make notes out of them yourself. Then either you can refer to the monthly compilation, or thirdly you can rely on the yearly compilation that you are having. Right now, if you are doing, my suggestion is do any two of them. Like if you are going for reading newspaper, then go for yearly compilation also, just to glance through the topics. और अगर आप मंथली कंपाइलेशन पढ़ते हैं तो व्हाट आई विल सजेस्ट कि जो आप टॉपिक पढ़ते हैं उस पे आप गूगल करके लाइक जस्ट रीड दैट टॉपिक, जस्ट गूगल अ पर्टिकुलर न्यूज रिपोर्ट अराउंड इट एंड जस्ट रीड दैट, कि एक बार अगर आप उसको आप पढ़ते हैं तो आपको वहां से एक और अंडरस्टैंडिंग डेवलप होती है. तो इफ यू गो अबाउट विद, इफ लाइक यू आर गोइंग विद मंथली न्यूज़पेपर, so my suggestion here will hello, I hope I am audible. Yes, Sahil, I was saying कि जब आप ऐसे रेफर करते हैं उसको, then what you can do is, in addition to what you are reading in the monthly compilation, you can just read some of the articles on that issue also. That will be very helpful, right?
ओके ओके. या सर, एक्चुअली क्या था ना कि मतलब मैंने बहुत रिगरसली कवर करा था. बट व्हेन आई वाज गिविंग अ प्रीलिम्स तो मतलब कुछ चीज़ें मेरी कनेक्ट हुई. सो क्योंकि वहाँ पे तो वन लाइनर्स आते हैं, आंसर भी सामने था. सो बट आई गेट टू नो कि वहाँ पे मेरा क्या फॉल्ट था. तो उसी के रीज़न से मैंने पूछा था कि वो ज़्यादा हैम्पर तो नहीं करेगा अगर मैं न्यूज़पेपर ना करूँ और मंथली कंपाइलेशन करूँ तो.
तो ये आपको खुद पता है कि ऐसा कोई सोर्स नहीं है जैसे यूपीएससी भर भर के क्वेश्चन दे देता है. एट द एंड ऑफ द डे इट इज अबाउट योर मेटा नॉलेज ऑन एनी पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक. And like if you talk from mains perspective, it is holistically, even you will appreciate the mains में the questions, it might be inspired from the current event, but at the end of the day the analysis will rely on your static knowledge. And in prelims also, like some of the question might be there from a certain source, but at the end of the day you realize that अगर आप एनालाइज करें प्रीलिम्स को, अगर आप 55 क्वेश्चन सही करते हैं, एकदम सही करते हैं, तो भी आपका प्रीलिम्स निकलता है. तो आपको वरी नहीं करना चाहिए कि यार एक आधा क्वेश्चन इस सोर्स से आ गया तो देन यू स्टार्ट गोइंग अबाउट दैट सोर्स. फर्स्ट फोकस ऑन व्हाट इज एट हैंड.
यस सर.
So I
गॉट अ
think that
पॉइंट.
will be helpful in that regard. Like if you can just add reading news, certain articles on that topic when you are reading the compilation, so say you will develop better understanding around it. You can go with this.
ओके सर. ओके, गॉट
Okay,
इट.
Sai. Then next, I think Sapna can speak up.
Hello, sir.
Yes, hello.
Uh, Good evening, sir. First of all, congratulations to you all. To you. Handsome now, but
Thank you.
sir, uh, I want to ask sir कि मैं ऐसे पढ़ने बैठती हूँ और ऐसे पढ़ा तो बहुत, हाँ, रेगुलर वे में पढ़ रही फिर जब घर में कुछ हुआ या फिर समथिंग तो उससे कंसिस्टेंसी फिर बिगड़ जाती है, फिर उसको वापस लाने में बहुत टाइम लग जाता है। तो फिर सर उसको उसको कैसे, और फिर टाइम मैनेज पे भी थोड़ा सा सर बता दे।
Okay, so your like the query that you are having is not related to starting the topic as such. You're more from the
यस यस
aspect
सर।
of the miscellaneous things. See, in that regard, I'll just be very brief about it. You just remember that why you started that thing. Like those kind of disturbance will be part of person of your life, and at times you need to devote time on those also. But simultaneously, you should understand that again you should find out time to focus back on what you have to do initially. तो आपको कहीं ना कहीं वही चीज करनी है, लाइक इफ यू आर इन्वॉल्व इन सर्टन एक्टिविटी एंड यू बिलीव दैट यू शुड बी फोकसिंग ऑन स्टडीज, स्टार्ट ब्रिंगिंग आउट थॉट्स ऑन दैट रिगार्ड. आप उसके बारे में सोचना स्टार्ट करेंगे, लाइक डेफिनेटली यू विल देन अगेन कम बैक टू इट. एंड यू नीड नॉट वरी मच की लाइक यू विल बी वेस्टिंग टाइम इन दैट और दैट. अगर इफ यू आर डूइंग इफेक्टिवली व्हाट यू आर डूइंग during limited time also, then also you will be able to do it. You should not fritter much about it. That will be my advice. Next, like if any one of you, RD Sharma or Riya, I had opened your mic if you want to ask something.
Sir, sir, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Sir, my question is that sir, I will give exam on 2022. So sir, I have completed my polity part. I just tell you one portion. Okay, I have completed my polity part, but then I look the previous year's questions, but still not feel so much confident regarding the previous year's questions. So, sir, I know that these require revisions more, and but sir, I feel little demotivated for this. That I don't feel confident about the previous year's question. So, is this normal, sir, or is this because it's like feel that no, I can't give the, I can't pass the exam. So, is this normal, sir?
It is normal. You need not worry much about. See, many times, many of students might be able to do in the first attempt itself, but if you are not able to, you need not worry about it much, right? Because with
Okay,
time, if you are dedicated to it, with time you will
okay, sir.
slowly develop the understanding around it. Because there are many
Okay,
topics which might be very new to you, right? And
yes,
you
sir.
might be reading it for the first time. And UPSC is asking from the aspect of they ask you good analytical questions from that regard. So you have to also
Yes,
appreciate that whatever you are doing, you have to devote certain time to it, and only you will be able to reach a certain level whereby you will be able to answer them. So you need not worry much initially. Yes, with time you should worry with respect to that. You are able to improve it incrementally. Like suppose मान लो अगर आपके पहले iteration में you are able to attempt 5 questions, 6 questions, then in next one you should be worried if you are not able to go to more than that. आपको उस तरीके से relatively आपको देख के चलना चाहिए.
okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Riya. Aman, if you can ask, if you want to ask something. Yes, Aditya. Aditya, if you want to ask something.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Aditya.
Sir, I am Aman.
Okay, Aman, yeah, go ahead, no issues.
Uh, Sir, I had one query regarding it is said that we need to revise our sources multiple times. Sir, suppose I take up quality and read it for once. So, should I read it 4 times in one go, or can I switch subjects? Basically, I wanted to know how should I revise.
Okay, fine, I got it. Like, if you talk about revision, like, what is the basic objective of revision? The basic objective is that what you have read, the objective is that you are able to consolidate it, and after some time, you are again able to reproduce it. That is the basic objective of revision. So, my advice with revision is like, initially, when you read something, like, suppose you read some chapter, just go through the important points again immediately after 1 hour or so. Then you revise it one day after it, then a week after it, then 20 days after it. So, like you were saying that you want to revise 4 times in one go, that will not be the objective of revision. Revision is from the aspect of that you are able to retain it for longer time. It is not that you are reading the same text for 4 times and you will claim that I have done the revision 4 times. It will be about after a certain interval, if you are able to read it again, it will help in terms of making the long term memory. That is the overall objective of revision in this regard. So I hope you are getting like what you are asking me exactly in this regard.
Hi, sir.
Anyone else?
Yes, sir. Adit. So can I speak?
Yes,
Hello.
whoever wants to speak, whose mic is on, they can go ahead.
सर आई एम सेइंग आई एम सर मुझे एथिक्स में थोड़ा प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है कि
Ethics ka
सर
we
मैं
will deal when we will be dealing with paper 4. You need not worry.
यस
Ethics is not something that you should start initially. Ethics
यस
ka
सर
when we will be doing with respect to our maybe third or fourth session, we will definitely deal from mains aspect also. I believe you will also appreciate that if we restrict to that thing, it helps in terms of segregating the things.
ओके सर ओके
Yes, anything with respect to whenever questions you have with respect to starting a thing, that I will appreciate those because that is the objective of today's session.
यस सर सर आई वांट टू आस्क अबाउट प्रीलिम्स सर सर मैंने एक बार 20 साल दिया प्रीलिम्स सर मैंने बहुत अच्छे से पढ़ा हुआ था सब बहुत अच्छा जा रहा हुआ था सर लास्ट में मैं लैग करा कुछ कुछ सब्जेक्ट में लेके तो सर मुझे ये पूछना था कि प्रॉपर से मैं प्रीलिम्स को कैसे इस बार अप्रोच करूं मॉक दे के बहुत सारा या मतलब प्रॉपरली इस बार कैसे अप्रोच करूं सर सेकंड टाइम में मेरा
देखो सेकंड टाइम में देखो प्रीलिम्स नहीं निकला है तो दोबारा यही मान के चलो कि
नहीं सर
पहली बार ही
फर्स्ट
दे रहे हो.
हाँ मतलब हाँ ठीक
I got it what you are saying. I got each and every point. आपने दिया था फर्स्ट टाइम, आपका प्रीलिम्स क्लियर नहीं हुआ, राइट? यू आर सेइंग दिस.
यस सर यस
तो व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज आप मान के यही चलिए कि आप दोबारा पहली बार ही दे रहे हैं. Whatever
यस
advantage you are having in terms of experience, don't rely on that much. Start from scratch again. Scratch in the sense like you are talking specifically about certain areas that you are not able to cover. Start them from very basic and build up with respect to from the aspect of the demand of the exam. तो आपको उसी तरीके से चलना है. सबसे पहले आप एनालाइज करिए कि आपकी वहां पे गलती क्या थी जो आपने अटेम्प्ट किया था, व्हाट यू आर स्कोरिंग और हाउ मच बाय व्हाट मार्जिन यू मिस्ड इट, और आप उसके हिसाब से अपने लेवल पर देखिए कि आपको किस पर कितना काम करने की जरूरत है. सो दैट हैज टू बी योर बेसिक अप्रोच अबाउट इट. And if you talk with respect to key mock tests, see mock tests are invariably important, whether you are appearing for the first time or the fifth time or the sixth time. Mock test इसलिए important है क्योंकि whenever you are attempting an objective paper, एक objective paper की requirement होती है. It tests you on certain aspects because many times it will put you in a confusing state. और अगर आप उसको recall उसको if you are able to decipher between two confusing options, that will definitely help. और ये आपकी objective question करके ही आपको आती है.
यस थैंक यू
Thank you.
Shall I speak, sir?
Yes, sir, please.
So, am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Sir, good evening. My name is Rehan. I'm been preparing for 2023 and I've completed all my basic NCRTs. So, my question is threefold. First is, what would be the next target? Be? Is it general studies or optional? And second fold is, when should I start newspaper or current affairs?
Okay, and
And
third?
a third one is how to start the basic things of internal security and science tech.
Okay, fine. See, like if you read about the NCRTs, so you are at a stage where you can understand the issues that you have to read. But I will be very honest about it. Solely relying on NCRT will not help you in terms of clearing the exam. So next thing you should do is now you should read the other additional books which are referred or which are suggested for these topics. You should first do that. Now, second, coming to current affairs, like if you are appearing for 2023, so you cannot segregate the current affairs की एक साल का ही आएगा या उसका ही आएगा. Current affairs is more from the aspect of issues, how you analyze a particular issue which is going on. It's quite highly likely कि जैसे from my experience, many of the points which I used to write in mains, that they were like something which I read in maybe 2017 and 18. तो अगर आप न्यूज़पेपर या करंट अफेयर्स आप पढ़ते हैं तो आपको डेफिनेटली वो कहीं ना कहीं हेल्प करेगा. तो आप ऐसे मत सेग्रीगेट करिए आप करंट अफेयर कब से स्टार्ट करेंगे, यू शुड डेवलप इट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ एन हैबिट। और अगर आप जीएस और ऑप्शनल की बात करते हैं, अगेन आई विल सजेस्ट कि लाइक फॉर सम टाइम अगेन फोकस ऑन जीएस, क्योंकि आपका कहीं ना कहीं 1.5 साल का टाइम है, जीएस पे आप फोकस करिए, देन आफ्टर मे बी say February or March, then you can again start thinking about your optional also. Now, if you talk about specific topics like internal security and science and tech, उसके resources की अगर आप बात करें, one very good resource just to glance through the issues is the Ministry of Defense का annual report आता है, that is the best source to know about the various dimensions. उसके अंदर अच्छे अच्छे figures होंगे, एक brief में उन्होंने बताया होगा, it will be around I think मैक्सिमम 200 पेजेस और समवेयर अराउंड, आप उसको इनिशियली ग्लांस करके रेफर करके देख सकते हैं। सेकंड, यू कैन रेफर टू एनी ऑफ द स्टैंडर्ड बुक्स, वन बुक इज बाय टीएमएच, आई थिंक बाय one of the IPS Ashok Gupta, you can refer his book also, that is a good in terms of giving you first hand knowledge about the various issues that we are having. And science and tech का जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था, as such that TMH book is could be seen as a one stop solution for that, क्योंकि साइंस एंड टेक अगर आप देखें एनसीईआरटी से कम सवाल आते हैं, एनसीईआरटी could be useful in terms of covering your biotech part, but otherwise if you talk about कि बेसिक ऑफ फिजिक्स केमिस्ट्री वो आपके लिए ज्यादा बल्कि हो जाएगा, तो आपको उस पर इतना फोकस नहीं करना, यू कैन जस्ट रेफर टू टीएमएच इन दिस रिगार्ड। आई होप एनीथिंग एल्स।
So one question also, how to segregate it, what to study and what not?
See,
Because
there's
I've been analyzed all the previous question paper, but I feel a bit difficulty in these things.
see like if you talk about what to study and what not to study, your syllabus could be a good source of this, right? You should focus on the syllabus, whatever is given in the syllabus, you try to, whatever you are reading, try to relate with any of the topics. If you are able to relate it with any of the topics in any form, that means you had to read that. If you are not able to relate it in any form, that means it was not part of the syllabus. So as simple as that. And if some topic, like if you read in the previous year and something related to that is coming up, that becomes important again from that aspect. I'm opening few of you also because I'm not sure how many are online. Then whoever is able to speak up, they can speak up. I have
Hi,
allowed
sir.
three
Am
of.
I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
Sir, I wanted to ask, like you talked about NCRTs. So, do we need to cover all the NCRTs from 6th to 12th, let's say about geography or history or polity?
No, you need not cover all the NCRTs. You just cover, like if you talk about from 6 to 12 NCRTs for geography. Your geographies for 11th and 12th are as such sufficient. But like many times what happens is if you pick up the NCRTs for class 11th and 12th, they seem very bulky for a student. So that's why they go and refer to from NCRTs from 6th to 10th in this regard. In order to avoid that specifically for geography, you can go with GC Leong. That will definitely help in that regard. So you can always rationalize the NCRTs that are required to be read. You need not
Okay,
read all the NCRTs.
okay. And do we need to make notes from NCRTs like from sixth onwards?
See, note making, I have a habit of making notes of anything which I read. See, you should appreciate that note making is something, is not a burden on you or something additional. Note making is something which helps you in consolidating whatever you are reading. So, from that aspect, you never know that what you are reading at what place it might be useful from UPSC's aspect. So, note making you should try to make as and when possible. The only suggestion for NCRTs is that in the first go you can avoid note making, but you should definitely go for note making in the second reading, because see NCRTs most likely you will read them two times, later on you won't even read them. So if you are having notes ready, it's quietly likely that you will just glance through the notes, and many times questions can come from any part of NCRT also.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, Abhishek, you can speak up. I'm allowing few more to speak, like I'm not sure how many are available. If you're getting an opportunity, you can speak up.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, Satyam.
Sir, I have three queries. The first one is like, sir, I am in my seventh semester doing engineering. So, keeping a backup is necessary, or should we stick with only a plan A?
See, this plan A, plan B, these are like more of the terms that you are using now. See, for me as such, whatever you are doing, just do it wholeheartedly. And see, to be very honest about it, statistically, there are people who will be requiring plan B also. Like if you talk around 10 lakh aspirants are giving it every year, and only around not more than 1,000 seats are there. So if you just go
Yes.
statistically, also there will be people who will be relying on their plan B. So, like, yes, people can say that you just focus on one thing, you need not worry about other thing. That helps in terms of doing. But to be very rational about it and to be facing the reality, you never know that when you have to execute your plan B. But what I believe is, instead of focusing on plan B, you should focus on developing certain skills. Like if you are in your seventh semester right now, you should try to develop certain skills which might help you in terms of getting a particular job in case you need any time during your preparation also. So that
Yes,
should
sir.
be how you should be orienting rather than focusing or segregating into plan A and plan B. It will be more about go with your plan A and with respect to plan B, develop certain skills which might help you later on in any emergency situation also.
Okay, sir. So, one more query. Sir, like, I don't have any peer group who are focusing on like UPSC preparation. So, is it necessary to join coaching or mentoring or something like that?
See, about necessity, there is nothing which is necessary for doing this. Like I had earlier also spoken, they do help in this regard. And if you are not having peer group, my advice will be you should definitely develop a peer group. Right nowadays, I think there are platforms on Telegram also where if your only objective is to develop a peer group, you can easily join a peer group in that regard also. So
Okay.
otherwise, like coaching will definitely help you. It might help you in terms of finding like-minded people. But apart from coaching, also if that is the only objective that you are having, I think you can find without coaching also.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay, Satyam. Anyone else whose mic is on, they can also ask.
Good evening, sir. Shahid this
Yes,
side.
good. Yes, good evening.
Sir, I had a query regarding note making from current affairs. Just like if we read newspaper daily, so should we just read the newspaper daily, mark up some important points, and let them consolidate in mind daily to daily, or we should make a separate register or so to note down, or have a digital note for making daily notes? Or alternate option is just reading them, then following up a revision with monthly compilations and PT 365 and main 365 later on.
Yes, you elaborated on all the three ways that you can use. I good. I'm glad that you highlighted all the three tools. You made somewhat easier for me. See again, like if you talk about newspaper reading, again I'll suggest whatever you are reading, jot down something from that because in the long run, it's quite likely you can refer those notes, but you will not be able to refer the newspaper again. And again, I'm saying you should not take note making as a burden. Whatever you are jotting it down, later on you will be able to map it to certain topic that will help in that regard. Another thing that you are referring to was monthly compilation. Do any one of them, either go for newspaper reading or either go for monthly compilation, and then in the end do refer to the yearly compilation in that regard.
Okay, sir. Thanks for that. And sir, I'm targeting for 2022 the next year. I had already appeared in this year's, but I couldn't qualify the prelims. The sir, second query is that which subjects can be left over for preparing after qualifying for mains? Just like ethics paper we can leave, or which other topics we can leave for after prelims clearing, or we shouldn't leave anything post prelims.
My advice will be don't go into that more that you will study something after prelims. Right now, you're having around 6 to 7 months. In coming 2 to 3 months, you can focus on your mains oriented learning because to be very honest, you are getting around only 80 days. 80 days में भी 20 दिन रिजल्ट आने में लगता है तो 60 दिन मिलता है. तो उसमें जितना आता है उसी को रिवाइज कर लोगे डेट विल बी क्वाइट ग्रेटफुल राइट. अदरवाइज आप कर भी सकते हैं, ऐसी बात नहीं कि लोग नहीं कर पाते, करते हैं. बट आई एम टॉकिंग फ्रॉम द एस्पेक्ट ऑफ समवन when he is planning initially he should not plan from this aspect.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
Sir, I'm in third semester now. सर मतलब मैंने इनिशियली एनसीईआरटी टारगेट किया एनसीईआरटी को रीड कर रही हूँ मैं अभी थर्ड सेमेस्टर में तो मैं जब उसके बेसिस पे आंसर लिखती हूँ तो उसे इवेल्युएट कैसे करूँ मतलब मैं तो कोचिंग जा नहीं सकती हूँ इसलिए
ये एनसीईआरटी के बेसिस पे आपका आंसर कभी भी कंप्लीट नहीं रहेगा इफ यू आर राइटिंग योर आंसर ओनली बेसिस ऑफ एनसीईआरटी यू हैव टू डेफिनेटली डू सम वैल्यू एडिशन इन दैट पार्ट एंड इफ यू आर लाइक सेइंग दैट यू आर राइटिंग योर आंसर तो आपके पास क्वेश्चन तो कहीं से आया होगा एंड आई बिलीव दैट यू आर नॉट प्रिपेयरिंग द क्वेश्चन योरसेल्फ एंड आल्सो आंसरिंग इट तो जब आप क्वेश्चन कहीं से भी उठाते हैं तो उसका मॉडल आंसर भी आपको मिलता होगा then you can always refer to that model answer what particular point you are missing or what particular dimension you are missing so that will gradually help you in terms of your self evaluation also and again I will say that if you have read only ncrt I won't suggest you to go for answer writing read few more things on that from the mains aspect and then go for answer writing because that will be more holistic more holistic aspect.
और
I will take
सर अभी
yes,
मैं
yes.
थर्ड सेमेस्टर में तो कुछ एडवाइस की प्लान का कुछ
See, my advice will be if you're in third semester, first focus on enjoying your college days in coming 1 to 2 years. Then gradually in your say sixth semester and seventh and eighth semester, you can get more serious about it. See, at the same time, you should not sacrifice your graduation years for the preparation. That will be my honest advice to you. Otherwise, if you want to prepare it from now only, you can start reading like in small things in incremental manner. So that will be my advice to anyone who is preparing. Yes, although you should be oriented about your career, but at the same time, you should not be only focused about the textual reading or only theoretical knowledge. You should focus from the aspect of gaining practical knowledge also, and that is the time when you can do this.
सर
I'll be taking few more questions, like I think 1 or 2 more questions, because I planned for 1 hour session. I think I opened few of you. Anyone of you want to ask, they can go ahead.
Hello,
Yeah,
good
opening
evening, sir.
mic. Yes, good evening.
Hel- Hello.
Yes, yes, good
Good
Evening,
evening.
sir.
evening, sir. Sir,
Yes,
Sir,
please, you
first
can
of
go
all,
ahead.
congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Now, please go ahead with the question directly.
So my question is, sir, for example, if we study current affairs, so if we make notes of current affairs, so if we think no, makes notes, so it gets sum up for 1 year. So how can we just concise or classify that what current affair is more important and what current affair is just a waste? And how can we use a current affair in our answer writing?
See, for that, you should be always referring to the syllabus. Syllabus आपके हाथ में होना चाहिए जब भी आप न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ते हैं, करंट अफेयर पढ़ते हैं. एंड सेकेंड इज उसके अलावा जब आप ये बात करें सेग्रीगेशन की, लाइक विच इज मोर हेल्प यूजफुल, विच इज मोर नॉट, आप प्रैक्टिकली अगर मैं आपको बताऊं अराउंड 80 क्वेश्चंस आर देयर इन टोटल अक्रॉस जीएस. 4 जीएस में 20-20 सवाल पहले 3 जीएस में, 13 क्वेश्चन जिसमें कुछ के सब पार्ट्स होते हैं. तो ओवरऑल अराउंड देयर आर 80 क्वेश्चन जहां पर आपके जीएस पे क्वेश्चंस आते हैं. और जीएस में अगर आप करंट अफेयर की बात करें, करंट अफेयर से इंस्पायर्ड क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, लेकिन करंट अफेयर पे सोल बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस नहीं होते हैं उसके अंदर. मैक्सिमम आपके चारों पेपर के अक्रॉस आपको 10 सवाल भी ऐसे नहीं मिलेंगे जो आप कह सकते हो कि सिर्फ इससे करंट अफेयर से आया है. And again, whenever they will ask something with respect to current affairs, it will be always linked to the syllabus or the topic which are mentioned in your static syllabus. तो आप हमेशा जब भी पढ़ते हैं उससे आप उसको लिंक करके चलिए. और जब भी आप करंट अफेयर पे कोई भी इवेंट पढ़ते हैं तो आप उसको एक कंसाइज मैनर में, कंसाइज in the sense whatever you have read, whatever update has gone, you should be having a note ready around 200 words on that, because practically आप उससे ज्यादा लिखने का स्कोप आपको नहीं मिलेगा until unless it is not an act, legislation or a policy of the government which has significantly affected. उसके अलावा आपको करंट अफेयर्स इतना यूज नहीं करना पड़ता उसके अंदर.
So one more thing, sir, if
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
sir, if we start writing on any one of the topic, sir, if we don't know that topic, or for example, if we don't know a single think about that topic. So what should we do? Go back to revise or just do and write anything about?
See, it depends upon your level of preparation. If you are doing it initially, my suggestion will be just go and read more on that. But if you have done significant level of preparation, then might you just try something, just try some structure on that, some way like you can at least write something. So it will depend
So,
upon your level of preparation and at what stage you are in your preparation.
sir, my attempt is in 2024, but sir, at this stage of time, I am very confused how to start my answer writing. I just want to start, but I can't.
But you can, I think, pick up pen and paper and you can just start writing. There's no confusion for starting anything. Maybe maximum will write a bad answer, but eventually you are will be able to evaluate it, and over a period of time you will develop on that. Like whatever you are missing in a particular answer, just read its model answer. You will be able to develop certain structures around it, and that will definitely help you. Right? I will take one more
Hello, sir.
question after. Yes, Srikanth, go
Hello,
ahead.
sir.
Okay, thank you so
सर
much.
हाउ टू टेकल अननोन क्वेश्चन इन मेंस एग्जाम, जैसे कि आर्ट एंड कल्चर में ज्यादा कंटेंट नहीं मिलता है मेंस आंसर राइटिंग
So
के
for
समय,
that you will have
तो
to
उस
develop
क्वेश्चन
certain
को कैसे
structures.
आंसर करेंगे?
See, like for that you will have to develop certain structures. Like मान लो आपकी मैं culture की बात करता हूँ. So for that you should have various dimensions on culture. Like what will be culture? Your clothing habits, your food habits, your reading habits, what you are reading, what they are celebrating, their music, their tradition. So इस टाइप की चीजें आपको clear होनी चाहिए कि what a particular term means और what could be its various dimensions. तो इस टाइप की चीजों से आपको अपना आंसर elaborate करने में helpful होता है. Like other example I can give is, like suppose there is a question on infrastructure, then you can think about like what kind be the various kind of infrastructure. Like it could be physical infrastructure, it could be financial infrastructure, it could be digital infrastructure, it could be from the aspect of social infrastructure. तो इस तरीके से अगर आप उसके अलग अलग डायमेंशंस को तोड़ते हुए चलेंगे, you will be able to generate more points in that regard. Okay, Srikanth, and it will
Hello,
सर
sir.
हाउ टू
happen
कवर
with,
इन आर्ट एंड कल्चर सर,
सी आर्ट एंड कल्चर जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि जैसे आर्ट जैसे कल्चर की मैंने आपको
क्योंकि
बात
उसमें
करी,
ज्यादा कंटेंट
जैसे
मिलता
मैंने
है।
कल्चर की आपको बात करी, तो कल्चर के अलग अलग आपने डायमेंशन खोले. जैसे अब आप आर्ट की बात करते हो, आर्ट विल बी फर्स्ट आर्किटेक्चर, देन इट विल बी स्कल्पचर, देन इट विल बी अदर form of art that you can think about. It could be like visual art, it could be painting, it could be dance form of art. तो इस तरीके से आप उसके डायमेंशंस खोलिए. देन अदर थिंग विच कैन हेल्प इज यू कैन आइडेंटिफाई इन विच एरा यू आर टॉकिंग, हु आर द पर्सनालिटीज एसोसिएटेड विद, what is its significance today, what is the most significant contribution that at that time. So you can just think along those lines.
ओके सर, थैंक यू सर।
Okay, okay. And I'll be taking
Hello,
the
sir.
last question.
Hello,
Yes.
sir.
Yeah, so
Yes, sir.
someone
Good
is
evening.
starting the preparation. So what should be the approach for covering the syllabus? Should it be like 100% of 80% syllabus or 80% of 100% syllabus? Like suppose there's a plate tectonics. So how to set a bound? It's not like we're reading from NCRT also, from Runal also, from GC Leong also. So what should
See,
be?
maximum, what I believe is you should refer maximum one additional source. One is your basic source, which everyone is reading, that is NCRT. Apart from that, either you can go to Murnal, either you can refer to PMFIS, or some additional resource that you can find. And based on that knowledge, you just add on that. That should be your approach regarding this. And that was a very interesting thing that you asked, that whether you should go about 100% syllabus or 80% of the syllabus. See, with respect to GS, the paper is set in such a manner that they will ask, like I will talk with first with respect to prelims. Prelims, you need not prepare 100% of the syllabus, and no one can prepare, because if you talk about the all the kind of topics, no one is able to prepare. And just to qualify it also, even if you are able to prepare 80% of it, and within 80% also, even if your accuracy is only 80%, you will be getting around 64 correct, 16 incorrect. So that will effectively come around to 59 to 60 questions correct. You will be able to easily sail through it. Then if you talk about GS, with respect to GS, you will have to cover entire thing 100%, because the questions are set in such a manner that they will be asking one question from each topic. So you cannot leave anything in GS. But when it comes to optional, there is a scope that you might leave something, because you are given options in terms of attempting the questions. तो वहां पर आप अपने ऑप्शनल में स्ट्रेटेजी लगा सकते हैं. पर जनरली लोग ऑप्शनल में फिर ऐसी चीज करते नहीं है, बिकॉज दैट इज समथिंग दैट दे क्लेम टू बी देयर एरिया ऑफ एक्सपर्टीज. तो ब्रॉडली स्पीकिंग प्रीलिम्स में आप रैशनलाइज करके चल सकते हैं कुछ सिलेबस सेलेक्टिवली पढ़कर. मेंस में आपको जीएस के लिए पढ़ना ही पड़ेगा, ऑप्शनल के अंदर भी थोड़ा बहुत स्कोप है।
So as you said, GS का 100% syllabus, but it doesn't mean that 100% depth on every topic. Like the sketchy and something about everything would be done. Like would
Yes,
be good for
like
it.
on many topics, you should have the trivial knowledge at least. You should know about what is the issue going around in that. You should have some points to write up. Like suppose if you know, you need not know everything about a particular topic, but if you just know about its definition, its trivial things, trivial facts, some issues around it, some recommendations around it, that can easily help you in terms of framing an average answer at least. And that becomes
Okay.
very important that you are able to at least attempt a particular question.
Yeah. One last question. That for your prelims part, what did you find that which part has the least input output ratio? Like when you discovered by your own, okay, this part is there which has least input output ratio. So I might have skipped this if there was a time constraint.
That will be art and culture and history. To be very honest about it, I used to always prepare art and culture and history from the perspective कि I will be like I will focus on NCRTs and focus on certain standard books. उसके अलावा I won't go much into that. I will just focus कि if there is a question from art and culture and history, on an average, like if 50 people are able to attempt from that from 100, I am also able to attempt. I was not seeking कि I will be exceptional in this particular topic. So you can rationalize this art and culture part and history part from that aspect, because the amount of effort that you will be putting in this, it's significantly high. Same goes with current affairs. Current affairs, although it's very highlighted, लेकिन जितना आपको करंट अफेयर्स में पढ़ना पड़ता है और जितना उसमें आपको क्वेश्चंस रिफ्लेक्ट होते हैं, इट्स द जो आपका एफर्ट जो लगता है दैट इज नॉट प्रोपोर्शनेट. इंस्टेड फोकस ऑन टॉपिक्स लाइक पॉलिटी, इकोनॉमिक्स, एनवायरमेंट, साइंस एंड टेक, जहां से क्वेश्चन आने ही आने हैं.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. So with this, we'll be ending our session today.
Hello,
I'm very sorry I could not take questions for others, but definitely we'll be having other sessions. And next session will be more from the aspect of prelims focused things. And there I hope we can take some of other questions also. So thank you very much. Meanwhile, I'll be also going through the queries that you have posted on the link. And as and when I'll find time, I'll definitely reply to them also, as I done for the earlier queries also. Thank you.